You are watching the home video of Bob and Jay's trip to China in November of 1999. We participated in the Chinese daily life as well as exposed the locals to us. China is a rapidly changing place. In 1908, 2-year-old Emperor Pu Yi came to power. The last Chinese dynasty ended in 1912. 37 years of internal unrest provided Mao Zedong victory and established the People's Republic of China. Since that time, China has progressed. There is a lot of construction. In very recent years, the government has been cautiously encouraging capitalism and is hopeful for the entrance into the World Trade Organization. The government is also trying to become a member of the G8. Although the accidental bombing of the Chinese embassy by the Americans in Belgrade was still fresh in the minds of everyone, the Chinese attention was really focused on their acceptance into the World Trade Organization and the return of Macau to Chinese control from Portugal. Jay and I were able to see many sights in China. Jay rang the bell at the Yunji Gong Temple for good luck. At Tiananmen Square, we were able to observe the body of Chairman Mao. Also in the square were Freedom Eagles, kites the people fly high above the government buildings. This is a good reminder to the government where their power is derived from. In Beijing, we visited Sun Dong An Plaza, the largest mall I have seen. We went to the Emperor's graveyard and touched the turtle's head for good luck. To keep from being lonely, this turtle has promised good luck to whoever stops by. The emperors ruled from the Forbidden City. It was quite an experience to look out over one of the many courtyards and imagine the power the emperor held. The emperor was the only one who could walk the center road, and the only one to use the center doors and center gates. This impressive stone carving in the Forbidden City is 54 feet long, 10 feet wide, 5.5 feet thick, and weighs more than 200 tons. The slab was transported from the north by drilling wells in the road and allowing the water to freeze overnight. The stone was slid on the ice. Jay and I stood on the center stone outside the Sky God Temple. In Guilin, we traveled to the top of Long Life Mountain. It is said that anyone who climbs the mountain will live a long life. The legend comes into question when you see the warning signs on the way down. We were herded from one tourist trap to another. Even the government was in on the racket. In Guilin, the tours are required to take everyone to 3 government-run attractions. At the Jade Shop, we saw work being done on the pieces. We were shown how to determine real jade from fakes, and then let loose to buy whatever we wanted. In the Pearl Shop, we saw where pearls come from, how to tell real pearls from fakes, and then let loose in the store to buy whatever we wanted. In the Chinese medicinal factory, we were shown the supposed powers of Qigong, given a reading, and then let loose to buy whatever we wanted. Peddlers constantly harassed us outside the large attractions. We went during the off-season. For 5 renminbi, you could have your picture taken with fish eagles or a monkey. The Chinese people like to see art in nature. When we toured a cave, the guide did not mention geological terms or mechanics of rock formation, but rather, this rock looks like a squirrel. We also saw rocks that look like mushrooms, a centipede, and a harbor-side city. Elephant Park is named after the shape of this mountain. I found the bridges to be more interesting. Please note the lack of railings. One night, we took a boat ride to watch the fishermen with birds known as fish eagles. The fishermen fish late at night, so their catch will be fresher and sell for more money in the morning. The birds are kept hungry during the day, so they will work at night. The birds are splashed. This is their cue to dive and look for fish. The fish eagle returns to the raft with the fish in its mouth. The fisherman has tied a string around the bird's neck to prevent the neck from expanding. The fish eagle cannot swallow the fish, and the fish is extracted from the bird. Later, the string is removed from the fish eagle's neck, and the bird is allowed to eat the last catch of the day. The roads and highways in China are for trucks, buses, taxis, motorcycles, mopeds, carts, and people. It is interesting to note the Chinese people use roads as sidewalks and sidewalks as roads. You will see few personal cars. Bicycling and walking are the major sources of transportation. Since transportation methods vary over the same roadway, traffic flows at about 20 miles per hour, even on many stretches of highway. A good analogy to Chinese traffic is to imagine driving in a very crowded parking lot. There are only a handful of small delivery trucks. Most products are moved from person to person by cart or bicycle or motorcycle. Food is always fresh. The meat, fruit, and vegetables that are eaten during the day were harvested that morning and transported to the market. A family member goes to the market every day to get the fresh food. Short supply lines and rapid consumption reduce the energy needed to transport and store the food. Preparing dinner is an art form. Here we see the chef's signature on a plate of lamb. The southern Chinese eat 6 times a day: breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, supper, and evening tea. A meal will have at least 8 different dishes, while a tea usually only has 4. Before eating at a restaurant, the plates and eating utensils are rinsed with tea. Restaurants provide a wide variety of fresh food. You generally have at least 200 dishes to choose from. I ate a lot of fish, chicken, quail eggs, shellfish, a little beef, and yes, even bee larvae, while I was in China. One member of the group usually orders the food for everyone. It is typical for men to drink rice wine with a meal. While in Guilin, we visited a tea farm. The teas are planted, harvested, and dried on this farm. There are several different kinds of tea. Each is prepared differently. The teapots and cups are rinsed with hot water. The tea is placed inside the pot. More hot water is added. Green tea does not need to be rinsed, but these leaves are very dry and dusty. The hot water is poured out to remove the particulates. More water is added. Hot water is poured over the teapot to seal in the flavor. The tea is poured into small cups. One should drink the tea while it is still hot and without sugar. The cup must be held properly with one finger underneath. The aroma is savored. The cup is lowered, and the first sip is taken. This sip is to prepare the mouth for what follows. The second sip is to determine the quality of the tea. The tea can now be enjoyed. Jay, her family, and myself visited the grave of Jay's grandmother. The grave is round to denote the foundation of the deceased house for eternity. Unlike the American tradition, the body is laid behind the headstone. The headstone immortalizes the person's name, date of birth, and date of death.
Granddaughter, my name right here.
Also on the headstone is a family tree.
Granddaughter's husband's.
Jay was able to find her name on her grandmother's headstone. You will notice the weeds growing in and around the graves. The town will gather once a year at the graveyard for a small festival and will clean the graves. The family members stood in front of the grandmother's grave, said a prayer, and made a wish. Incense is burned to ease the deceased journey. Play money is burned so the dead will have wealth in the afterlife. Finally, firecrackers are lit in hope the deceased will have a good journey. The Great Wall of China was started during the Qin dynasty. After uniting 12 independent states, Emperor Qin connected the individual protecting walls. The wall was renovated during the Ming dynasty at 1,864 miles long and 16 to 26 feet high. This is the world's largest military structure and can be seen from space. Jay and I climbed and climbed and climbed. It was easy to get tired during the climb. As you can see by Jay's leg, the individual steps were high. We climbed to the top. Or so we thought. We did get pretty far up, further than some others.
This is as far as we're going to go, not to lack of energy, but to lack of time. We've got to be back with the bus in 20 minutes, and we got about a 45-minute walk back down. So this is it, and we're glad to be here in China, and at the top of we're almost at the top of the Great Wall of China.
As you can see.
And then we climbed down the Great Wall.